What's up, everybody? Mitch Ruggles back with another video. Today we are working on the big red van. This is a 2003 Dodge Ram 3500 extended cargo van. Got that big booty on there. 5.2 liter with the 4,000 pound axle. Now the reason I'm making this video is because I've been doing this project and there's really not a whole lot of information on this stuff on YouTube. So I was like, all right, this is perfect. I'm gonna do it and I'll make the video on it. So if anybody's doing this stuff, this video should be helpful. Today we're gonna be doing inner and outer tie rods, upper control arm, lower ball joint. We're also gonna do the idler arm and the fuck is that called? Some other mystery bar, whatever it's called. Fuck, what is that called? Oh, the drag link. We're also gonna be doing the drag link. And I would do the pitman arms and the sway bar frame bushings, but we have to order those from the mainland and they're not going to be here for a while. But so that's what we're doing. Let's get into it. I did the passenger side already, so we'll go through and I'll kind of just help you identify what a lot of these things are, and then we'll go on the driver's side and get it done. Okay, let me switch this camera. Okay, so here we are. This is the front end with the tire taken off. This is the brake rotor, the caliper bracket. This is all coming off. This is the upper control arm. This I got loaded, so it came with the ball joint and these frame bushings already installed. A lot of the times, see, I was planning on just pressing this bushing out, but they kept giving me the wrong one. So I finally just got this, and it was a little more expensive, 180 bucks or so. But it's the right one, so I did that. And then, so that's the upper control arm. This is the inner tie rod connected to the outer tie rod. This is, where are we here? This right here is the idler arm. This is the sway bar link. This is the sway bar. So we're gonna change these sway bar links. And then down here, kind of in an awkward spot, this is the lower ball joint right there. I just dropped my light. There we go. So that's the lower ball joint right there on the lower, that's the lower control arm. So lower control arm, lower ball joint, upper control arm, upper ball joint. And this holds on, ties into the steering knuckle, which is turned by this. When you turn your wheel, that's what turns your tires. So those are the parts. That's what we'll be changing. Oh, this is the mystery. This is the linkage link. What is this? Drag link. This is the drag link right here. And we'll be changing that as well. Actually, this is a pretty good angle right here. Should do that from here. Okay, we got the vehicle jacked up on jack stands, and we're getting ready to get started. First things first, mindset, relax. We're having a good time. Working on your vehicle doesn't have to be this bad time, cussing, yelling, busting your knuckles, you know. Me, I like to smoke a doob, drink a beer, put on some music, relax, take a deep breath. You don't want to be all pissed off when you start these projects. It just clogs your brain. So let's get started. Let's take this tire off. If you don't have an impact like this, crack these loose before you lift the vehicle up. All this stuff looks pretty worn out here. So first thing we're gonna do is just take this steering knuckle off. Take the brake caliper, it'll come with the rotor and everything. You need to undo your brake line from the upper control arm. We're gonna take off this brake line from the brake caliper, which is a 13 millimeter. Okay, so a trick I learned a while back when I was learning how to wrench is putting bolts. Like some guys like to use the magnetic trays and stuff, and those are cool, but what I started doing was using an old box. So this is the old This is a tie rod box, and what I did is took my pocket knife and just cut some X's in there. And now when you take a bolt out and you want to keep track of it, you just kind of shove it in here, and that's where it lives. And you can even label it if you want to. And even if this gets knocked around or moved around a little bit, it's not going anywhere. And you can even get bigger boxes, like if you're doing a water pump and you want to, have it outlined of the outline of the water pump and put everything in there. And it's just a cheap, easy way to keep track of your bolts. Okay, so now we're going to take the brake line off the brake caliper. Right here, brake line comes off the brake caliper. Now this is going to be dripping, so go ahead and got a little drip pan here, and I'll just let that hang there. Drip into that tray. See, I got a little pan on it. Okay. Now the brake, I'm just going to take the caliper bracket off with the brake caliper still attached to it. And it's two bolts right here. And then there's one on the other side. Kind of hard to see, but right there, right behind this rubber piece, there's a bolt. Go ahead and take those off. Brake caliper bolts are a 18mm. Brake bar for that. Bolt comes out, just put it right in that tray there, there you go, just like that. Come off there. Careful, brake fluid, nasty shit, try not to spill it everywhere. Okay, so we'll just go through and spray everything with a little bit of PB Blaster. Alright, so first thing we'll do is the tie rod end. Okay, so the tie rod end is 1 1/16 inch. That thing was fucking around. Got it. Yeah, now. Normally you have a tool called a pickle fork you can find in there. But I don't own one of those, so we're just gonna see if we can persuade that out of there. It's kinda meant to do that too. There's a spot you smack on it. And it'll come out of there. And if you, I don't plan on reusing this. So I'm just going to go ahead and smack the threads. That falls out of there like that. So now this turns freely. Right, so next is the lower ball joint right here. So there it is. That's the lower ball joint, and we're gonna take that cotter pin out and crack that nut loose. There we go, that's a pretty good angle right there. So another good thing to do is just hit it with a wire brush. That can help you out a lot. Just so your socket can get a nice purchase on there. Hit it with got it. Woo. Okay. Okay, so the reason I want to do the lower ball joint first is because the weight on this thing right now is hanging on the upper ball joint, and now there's room. The gravity wants to let this lower control arm come down, right? So if I were to do the top side first, this bottom side would just sink to its lowest point, right? So I want to let this hang from the top side and leave room for this to come down. So when I start banging on this, the lower control arm wants to fall out of place first. Now we'll go ahead and take off the upper ball joint. So now this bottom side's loose. I'm gonna go ahead and just jack this up a little bit so the steering knuckle doesn't fall off completely. Okay, go ahead and see if we can persuade this off of there. So now, just lift up this a little bit. And take this off. And there we have it. Steering knuckle off. So lower ball joint, no bueno. Look how easily that moves around. Upper ball joint, even worse. All loose and wiggly. The frame bushings seem okay, but those are getting changed. So we'll go ahead and just take this upper control arm off. It's just going to be 2 bolts up top. You see them there, 1 and 2. 1, 2, bing, bing. But something you want to do, because this is an alignment part, is you want to mark where it is. So let me go ahead and loosen these 2 side bolts here, so I can make it easy to push this up. Yeah. Okay, so now I could get this thing lifted up, and you can see in here. Let's see if I can get you on that here. Let me switch this camera. So in here, this bolt, and this bolt both slide in and out. You can see there's a little It's not quite, it's a female threaded piece, but it's designed to slide in and out, and that adjusts your alignment. So what I'm gonna do is just clean that up with a wire brush, clean up on top of here with a wire brush, and then mark it with a Sharpie so I could put it back pretty close to where it was. And that's gonna hold alignment while I drive to the shop. Can't really see it, but I got the marks on there. Now it's okay to go ahead and take this up and off. And this just comes right out of there. Just like that. Now go ahead and clean this up, but don't erase the marks that you made. Okay, so that's ready. Now the next thing we're gonna do is press this ball joint out of here. Now this could be where this job turns into a huge pain in the ass, is pressing things. So let's get this boot. We're gonna get this rubber boot off of there. Pop that off. Okay, so now we need a ball joint press. And I'll show you that. You can rent them for free, mostly at your local hardware stores. They'll loan them to you. And you can just, I'll show you how it works. Okay, so you have a little cup that fits. It's wider than the diameter of the ball joint, so this ball joint is going to be being pushed down. So you get a cup that's wider than the diameter, and then a little cap that goes on top of it, like that. And then you get this big clamp. This goes over the ball joint. It just sits right on there, and that's going to push down. So now when I tighten this up, now when I tighten this up, it's going to be pushing the ball joint into this cup. If you're lucky enough to own a lift, this is where this job becomes really easy, because I own the impact gun, but there's not enough room to get the gun under here. I can't get the vehicle high enough to fit that. So that's where a vehicle lift comes in handy. But for now, take what you got and make it work. We're just gonna use a wrench. Normally I would just use an adjustable opening wrench, but I can't find mine, so I got a pipe wrench I'm gonna use instead. Okay, let's try this out. There you go. Feel it starting to go now. There it goes. And that's what you're left with right there. Ball joint comes out. And you got yourself a little hole here. So we'll clean that up with a wire brush and some brake clean. Okay, so now we got our new ball joint. Comes with a grease fitting and a cotter pin. Don't lose those, they will disappear. So we'll take this boot off of here. Don't lose that. Okay, so now this is where typically people will get themselves in a situation where it's really frustrating, right? Pressing this ball joint in can be a huge pain in the ass. But the trick is As you're putting this in here and you're squeezing it, oh, what the hell? That's not the right one. Okay, get the right ball joint. Now the key to putting these in, normally if you just have an impact hammer, you can put it in and impact it and it just goes in straight because of the nature of using an impact hammer. When you start using a wrench, you have to use length out here and it starts putting weird angles on this thing. And as soon as this thing is going in and it's perfectly straight, and as soon as it goes like this, you're fucked. That thing is never gonna go in there. It's just you're gonna break your back and hurt your hand trying to squeeze that thing and get it in there or crooked. So as you're putting this in here, you get it set up, use like a headlamp or something and look under here, and every few turns get under there and make sure that it's going in perfectly straight, and that's going to save you a lot of headache. So let's get this set up to press. Alright, so the bigger cup, that same cup I used when I was pushing this out from the bottom, goes on the top with it's like a cap that allows the ball joint shaft to come up through the top of this, and then this just sits flush. There's like a little hockey puck thing that goes up against the C-clamp, and you just kind of press it in there. Like I say, try and get everything lined up right the first time. Okay, so that's pretty straight there. Here I can tell, it's hard to see in the camera, but I can tell that this side right here is going in more than this side. So what I'm gonna do is just tap that over, give it a couple taps, and see if I can straighten that out. A couple light taps. There we go. That's actually a bit too much, but I think it'll come back as I pull on it. This side, the far side, is a little bit more in than the side closest to the camera. So I'm just going to go ahead and move that way. Oh yeah, baby. That's the one right there. Winner. That's how you do that. Okay, got the new ball joint pressed in there. Looking good. Clean that up, got a little dusty. Dust is no good. That dust off these. Now, we can go ahead and put our dust boot back on. Sometimes they could be a pain in the ass to squeeze on. If you're having a hard time getting this boot back on, use your ball joint press kit. There should be a cup that fits right on there, and you can press this on there. Okay, so that's that. That's the lower ball joint. Now let's go get the brand new upper control arm and install that next. Comes with a new grease fitting and cotter pin. All these parts come with new grease fittings, which is something to be excited about. There we go, brand new one. Brand new upper control arm. This is the part right here. Not quite a bolt, it's just a square block with a female thread, and that keeps it from spinning, and it just flows loosely in that little channel. Those two are marks. Let it set right there. Okay, lower ball joint, upper control arm, outer tie rod is taken off. Now we'll take off the inner tie rod. See it just hanging here. This the jack's in the way, but it doesn't matter. We just get in there and unscrew, take off that bolt right there. That fucker's on there. Alright, get up there. It's a good weapon. Perfect. Get your hammer out. Okay, so there's our old, that's our old outer tie rod and old inner tie rod, side by side with the new one. And as you can see here, they thread on to this bracket here. So we're gonna have to go ahead and loosen that. It's gonna be a 5/8 wrench with a 11/16 socket. Should be able to do that. Okay, so the technique is this: lean up against something, step on it, so that this point is sticking up in the air, and then you get a little bit easier to get your wrenches on there and get that around. It's pretty stuck on there, this thing, but just keep working it. Try not to pinch your fingers. There you have it, old ball joint. Do the same thing for the outer tie rod. Okay, there you have it. Make sure you keep track of your sides. Yeah. It's actually pretty close already. get under here and get this thing. Goes right back inside, like so. And just get it down pretty dang snug to where the castle nut lines up with the hole the cotter pin goes into. Cotter pin. Go. Now we go to the outer tie rod. Okay, so now we're going to do sway bar links right here. Sway bar, follow that to this little linkage setup here. I'm going to put a 13 on the top, 13 wrench on the bottom, and go ahead and loosen that up. Get that out of there, clean it up with the wire brush. See it? Washer facing upward, bushing facing upward. Probably easier to do this with the weight of the vehicle. Too late for that. Bingo. Washer facing or bushing facing downwards. Washer. And then that. Okay, so we're just getting these pretty tight. I'm going to finish tightening these up when I have the weight of the vehicle on, and then I'm just going to tighten them enough to where the bushings start to get swollen a little bit. All of them will swell up kind of evenly, and that's about as tight as you want to get these. And then next is the pitman arm. Not the pitman arm, sorry, the idler arm. This guy right there. Get you a little camera angle here, bango. That's the one. So that's the pitman arm right there. We're gonna get this cotter pin out, unbolt this. This is a bolt, so we're gonna have to get something over up on the top of that as well. Came out pretty easy. Came out of there pretty easy too. And this should just come out of there, or give you a hard time. Sorry. Bang on that till it pops out of there. Nope. Now, I'm going to show show you guys how this is going to get set up here. This is the new one. It's going to slide to the frame and do that mystery bar I don't know the name of, everything connects to. And it came with these little washers. The little bitch ass washers. I don't know, they're kind of foamy, but apparently some smart dude designed them, so what do I know. So they come with these soft washers and these hard washers. Right? So this is the bottom. You can see this one is a little bit longer than the top. We only have 3 of the soft washers. So 2 go on the bottom. So 2 on the bottom, capped with a hard washer. Right? Don't put the hard washer on the bolt side. The hard washer goes inside next to these soft washers. And 1 soft washer on the top. Followed by a hard washer. When I first got this part, I thought they sent me the wrong part. I had to do a little research, and it turns out this is the right part. It's just how they make the replacements. And then that, so if this is the frame that this is sliding into, that's going to slide in just like that. It's kind of a funny angle, that's why I'm trying to show you. So 2 foam washers on the bottom with a hard washer, 1 foam washer on the top with the hard washer, sliding into the frame, bolt goes through. Check it out. New bolt goes up over the top. Yeah, there it is. Got that in there. There you go. And you put your new cotter pin. Bend it down. Add some grease. Okay, so we're at the front of the vehicle. The last one is going to be called the drag link. So this is the outer tie rod we changed, the inner tie rod, the sway bar, and then there's this bar that everything kind of connects to. I don't know what that's called. Right there, that's the pitman arm we just changed. Outer tie rod is sitting there hanging with the inner tie rod. Now this connector bar, this main connector bar, has this drag link over here. Oh, we can't finger. There we go. So we're gonna change that out, and it connects to the pitman arm. This guy right there. So that's the pitman that comes off the steering box, comes down to this drag link, over to this main control bar, I don't know what it's called, and then you got 2 idler arms that connect that main bar to the frame, and then also the inner and outer tie rods are connected to that main frame bar. I don't know what the hell that's called. I meant to get the book for this, but anyways, we're gonna change that. And at first I was real confused when they gave me the new part, because it doesn't seem to be adjustable, and I was like, what the hell? Because this one does seem to be adjustable, but it also seems to be clamped on there. It's like somebody like set it and then clamped it on there. And it also has this oblong shape to it. You can see how that's not quite round. So I was a little confused. I'm not really sure what's going on. But when you line them up together, and you put them side by side, they're perfectly the same. It's hard to see in the camera, but they really are. They're perfectly the same match. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw that in there, and then I'll just mention it to the guys, you know, who did the alignment. All right, let's get that going. We're gonna take these cotter pins out, and you know the drill. Just fucking bang it with the hammer until it comes out of there. This comes out. This one goes in. There you go. Okay guys, that's it. Not that's it, but celebrate. Have yourself a beer, take a break. You did it. That's all the parts. You done put everything in, you changed out all your parts. Stoked. Now all we gotta do is put the steering knuckle back on, the brake system, the bracket, the caliper, and put the tire on. That's it. Drive this thing down and get alignment, and it's gonna be pretty stoked. So yeah, not too bad. Ran out of daylight there. I just got the spotlight shining on me right now and using a headlamp. But remember to take breaks, have a good time. This is your vehicle. You're saving money. You're putting your energy into it. You're investing into it. Be proud of yourself. You're stoked. I went and got a bid, an estimate. I told him, hey man, I need an alignment. I know all my ball joints are bad. How much for a full front end job? And I think they quoted me well over $2,000. I think it was like $2,400 to $2,600 for everything. And I probably got about, well, all these people gave me wrong parts, so it's hard to keep track of everything. But I probably about $600, $700, maybe $800. Like probably 800 max, maybe 600 minimum, something like that, you know? The upper control arms weren't cheap. Those were $180 a piece. And then the ball joints, the tie rod, all the parts, you know. Actually, not even that much, really. Maybe 500. Like I said, it was hard to keep track. Well under $2,500, though. I saved a couple grand doing this. And not a bad time. Had a couple beers, smoked a little weed. I played music for the other side. I didn't play music for this side because they're making a video or whatever. But you know what I mean? trying to enjoy yourself, relax. You're saving money, you're stoked. Life is good. All right, let's get this steering knuckle back on here. Just trying to line up. Same shit I've been doing. Line up that. Cement with the cotter pin holes. There you go. And now I'm gonna have to wrestle. This up. And into this upper control arm, but as you can see, because the lower control arm is too far down, you can't get in there. So get out your handy dandy jack and jack this thing up. This will easily fit back in there. Lock that in. Yeah. Squeeze that down. Sorry, the light's kind of bad. But in there, you can see that stick in there. Let's see if we can. All right, there you go. Yeah. That. Charge my light up, so it should be a little easier for you guys to see. So yeah, we jacked this up, got this on there. I did the Simba. Get your hands all greasy, you do the Simba thing, you know. It's the money. Got it in there. Money, money. And in there. It's the money. It's the money. It's the money. Yeah. It's the money. It's the money. It's the money. Yeah. Okay, I forgot to put on my the tie rod, the link that puts the outer tie rod and inner tie rod together. Make sure you tighten that up. Last thing is the brake caliper. It's the money, it's the money, it's the money, yeah. It's the money, it's the money, it's the money, yeah. It's the money. Alright everybody, that's the end of this video. I'm all dirty and greasy. We got it all done. We went into the late of the night. Probably about 8 o'clock right now, 8:30. Not too bad. But yeah, that's it. I'm going to bleed the brakes tomorrow and put the tires back on and go in for an alignment. But if anybody was wondering how to do upper control arm, lower ball joint, pitman arms, drag link, and those types of things on this particular van, that's how you do it. Right on. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next one. Cheers.